everyone. So welcome back to Get Sit Done Dogs. So if you're liking this stuff, hit that subscribe button, comment, share, like, any way you can support me. I would be very, very grateful. So please share with a friend. Okay, so we are going to talk about a really great topic that's not discussed a lot. So I want to tell you guys about some different and alternative training methods that you can use and that you might not know about, but actually the ways that they can be really, really, really helpful. So I think there's about 5 of them, so we're gonna go through these fairly quickly. So the first one that I absolutely love is what is called capturing. So this is basically where if you see your dog doing something you like and something you would like to see them doing more of, capture that. So you see them just relaxing on their bed, good job, give that dog a cookie. Capturing is actually a really good way to teach a lot of trick behaviors. So capturing is a really good way, and actually how I am able to teach a lot of dogs how to do shake and high five, or give their paws, or actually roll over, because it's something where you just catch them for rollover. You catch them just laying on their side, they get a cookie, they're like, what the heck? And then they go and they lay on their back, and then they get a cookie, and so then you turn that into a rollover. So that's called capturing. So you see something you like, capture it, reward it. Okay, the next one is called shaping. So this is one where we're gonna do small approximations towards the end goal. Or the easier way to explain this is basically playing the hot cold game with your dog. So as your dog gets closer or hotter to the behavior, then you start giving them more of the rewards, letting them know that green light behavior equals a reward. As you're getting further away from the behavior or colder, then the rewards stop. So it does involve a lot of problem solving. We also want to make sure that we're not pushing our dogs too fast, too far, because some dogs do have a lower frustration tolerance than others. So we want to make sure we're setting our dogs up for success. But that is something like nose targeting or touch. So make sure that they have a thorough understanding of that first, but then you can start teaching them how to touch different objects based on shaping. So instead of just touching your hand, you're gonna phase out the food reward. Yes, I understand you're touching my hand, but that's not necessarily what I'm asking for. So I want you to actually start touching other objects. We can also do this when we are teaching our dogs how to do a down. So for most dogs, it's easier to get into down from a sit position. So a lot of times they go into the sit first and then they go into the down. So it's something where, yes, they can go into the sit first, that's great, but that's not where we're stopping, and we don't want them to keep stopping at the sit. So that's something where you can encourage them to problem solve and try on a different behavior. Sometimes dogs will offer it down, and that's fantastic. So another one is luring. So this is where you literally take your food reward and you can put it like right at their nose or right at their mouth so they can smell it, and you're going to help lead them over to where you would like them to be, or over into the position that you would like them to be in. So it's not uncommon for dogs to get stuck in sit and not be successful with down. So this is something where we can use luring, putting it there and slowly luring them down to the ground to get the behavior that we're hoping for, which is the down. Let me scroll through my list here. So social learning and imitation. So dogs are actually social learners. So that's why if you have a dog that goes to doggy daycare or dog parks regularly, you may have noticed that they either are picking up some really not great habits and behaviors that we don't want them to do, or it can also go the other way where they're picking up good and wanted behaviors. So like a lot of times, you know, when you take your dogs to doggy daycare, they can learn other behaviors from dogs, you know, like jumping around and just being crazy like that, but they can also learn really great things. So when I do some of my group training with dogs, when I have a new puppy that comes in or a dog that comes in that doesn't have a thorough understanding of down, I will actually use some of the other dogs in the group who already have a thorough understanding and can actually do the behavior to help them learn how to do the down. So it's basically, we're all hanging out in a group. The dogs that are in down are the ones that are receiving the food rewards. So I'm encouraging the dog to problem solve and be like, hey, I'm not necessarily getting a food reward. What are the other dogs doing that's getting them food rewards that I'm not doing? And most of the time dogs are like, I wonder if I try it down if I'll get a food reward. So also you probably have noticed that dogs are always watching what we're doing. So that's Dogs are always watching what we're doing. So that's why, you know, like if you leave something on the counter or like you jump up on something, then dogs are like, oh, so I guess that's how I get things, is I just jump up on things. So yeah, make sure that you are always aware that your dogs are always watching you. And also, I had a border collie mix growing up, and she was so smart that we had to put baby locks on the cabinets and the refrigerator so she couldn't get in. And we had one where you had to like push it, do this whole thing. So that dang dog watched us do it enough times. She was able to figure out how to do it just by watching us. So obviously border collie is super smart. That's not always, you know, that's kind of just an extreme example of that. So play is another one that's really, really, really important. You can use all sorts of play and games to help your dogs learn all types of things. So one example that I can think of is tug of war. So contrary to popular belief, playing tug with your dog is not going to make them be aggressive. If anything, it's going to further your partnership and bonding your relationship, because it's actually a cooperative game. So, and it helps your dog learn boundaries, and it helps your dog learn how to take direction from a person. So for example, what I mean by boundaries is tug of war continues to play. I have my side of the toy, the dog has their side of the toy. If at any point during play, the dog creeps up onto my side of the toy, we're done, play ends. So that's helping the dog learn that certain behaviors will allow the game to continue, which is what your dog wants, but then other certain behaviors mean automatic no, we're not playing anymore. So it helps them learn boundaries. So we're coming up on, this is the last one. So redirection and replacement behavior. So a lot of times we focus on what we want our dogs to not do or what we want them to stop doing, instead of what would I like my dog to do instead. So a good example would be, I don't want my dog to jump up to greet visitors. Okay, that's great, but what would you like them to do instead? So rephrasing it as, instead of my dog jumping up to greet visitors, I would like my dog to fill in the blank. There's all sorts of things you can do with that. But then we have to take it one step further. And what are some steps that I can do to help support and set my dog up for success in being able to do something else besides jumping up on visitors? So I hope all of that makes sense. So again, it's just some really helpful but not necessarily well-known training methods that you can add to your training toolbox. So hope everyone enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.